Hello, I'm Amit, and I'm gonna be recording a video of me playing Celeste, specifically speedrunning Celeste. Now, Celeste is a game released a couple years back, and it was originally created in a 30-something hour game jam, I think, but then they obviously went and made a real game rather than, like, a little crappy short version, but you can still play the short version, it's pretty cool. Game jam is sort of like a coding marathon, essentially, where you make games. And it's really, really well designed. It's really fun. Like, if you haven't played it before, I'd recommend, and you want to play games, you like platform games, or even if you don't like platformers, this is the only platform I've ever really played, I would highly recommend not watching this for spoilers and playing it. But there's not going to be too many story spoilers in this, because, you know, I'm going to be zooming through it super fast, because I am a speedrunner, which means I am trying to beat the game as quickly as I possibly can. Now, I'm just going to make a little intro to show you what the kind of basic movement I do is, because otherwise you just won't understand what's going on. And then I'll sort of beat the first level, and I mean I'll play through the rest of the game, but you don't really have to watch that much further, because, you know, it's quite long. it's my personal best is 35 minutes and like 5 seconds or something. World record is like 27 minutes, but it's very difficult to get that far. Okay, so the basic movement that Madeline has, this is the character Madeline. She can run around, walk around, she can jump, she can hang onto walls, and she can also climb up walls and jump up walls and stuff. But if she goes too far and she jumps up, she has like a stamina which she'll run out, although you can get around this by doing what's called a neutral wall jump, which is a speedrun technique. She can also dash in 8 directions, both on the ground and in the air, all 4 directions and then diagonally. And this game has a really cool mechanics that basically it's got momentum. So if you're on a moving platform and you jump, Madeline goes extra far. But you don't even need to be on a moving platform because dash gives you speed. So if you dash and jump, you gain lots of speed. If you dash and jump in a crouched position, you get even more speed, which allows you to make ridiculous jumps, like from here all the way to here. Now, as you can see, I'm jumping and then dashing down, which means that I'm touching the ground after dashing, because to get your dash back, you need to touch the ground. So I can do this, touch the ground after doing my dash, and then have another dash in the air. Or alternatively, I can just dash and wait a bit on the ground, and then I'll keep my dash because I've sort of touched the ground before I jump. It's a bit weird. The final little trick, you can sort of do a vertical dash like this, and these all have names. So this, the basic one, is a dash cancel or a super dash. If you're holding down, it's a hyper dash. This is called a wall bounce, I call it, and this is called a wave dash, which is just sort of a different type of hyper. The final trick is called an ultra dash. That was terrible. Which is basically a hyper dash into a diagonal down dash, and that sort of gives you ridiculous amounts of speed. Okay, now that I've covered the basics, I'm gonna play through the game and sort of talk about what I'm doing. I really, really enjoy speedrunning. It's really fun, and highly recommend if you like. If you find any game that you like, just look into the speedrun of it, even not to do it, even just to watch, because it's honestly really impressive seeing people beat your favorite games in like ridiculously short times. Okay, so now I'm gonna start playing the game. This is just a little demo. So the first level is more of an introduction / tutorial thing than a level. It will teach you sort of the basic mechanics of the game, and we unlock our dash ability during this level. Also, by the way, Kim, thank you so much for setting up this contest. I haven't really entered because I've had exams, but it does look really cool. And yeah, also thanks to anyone who's watching. So, the first thing you notice I do is I jump a lot, and that is basically because in order to help her clear gaps, I think, or something. I'm not 100% sure why, but every time you jump, you gain a small speed boost, which saves about 3 frames. So this game runs at 60 frames per second, so 3 frames is 3/60ths, or 1/20th of a second. But I can, you know, jump more than 20 times in that intro. I've never counted, but you can save at least a second. But it's so easy to do that you might as well save that second. Okay, now I've unlocked my dash ability, so I can just start zooming through this level. So I'm going to start off with a little dash cancel to get straight up to here. And I'm just going to do lots of little dashes. I'm going to do a wall bounce here to get up high, a wall bounce here, into a hyper, into another wall bounce here, and then a hyper front. And then a hyper into another wall bounce. As you can see, this is a very fast-paced and intense game, with just lots and lots of very quick movement happening at all times. Lots of wall bounces, lots of hypers, because they are the fastest ways to move in this game. And I'm also not doing sort of the quote-unquote intended way. There is no intended way, because it's designed with speedrunning in mind. But like, a normal person on their casual first playthrough would not be doing what I would do. They would go, on this level, they would go to the wall on the right, but I can just jump over the side of that falling platform and do it so quickly that it doesn't fall in time. Hypering here. This level, you'd use that platform which actually moves when you touch it, but I don't need it because I have hyper dashes. Same with this level. I can just jump straight over to here. Now I can do a wall bounce, into a hyper dash, into another wall bounce, land and do another wall bounce because that's actually faster. Wall bounce on here, I missed that. Wall bounce into land, hyper, hyper. And now this, I'm jumping off the edge of the platform, so I'm not actually touching the spike there. It's called a spike jump, even though you're not jumping off the spike. Finally, I can jump off the back corner of that wall to land on here, and then just finish the level. Okay, that was very fast-paced. The first level is a lot more fast-paced than all the other levels. So at this point, you kind of see what I do for a hobby, but I'm going to finish this speedrun, because fuck it, why not? Honestly, this is a pretty bad time for the first level, because I failed a couple of bits. My best times are sort of 105 seconds, so that's about 10 seconds slow. The thing about speedrunning is that when you get to a higher level, you kind of, at some point, it gets to the point where, because you lost like 20 seconds in the first 2 levels, there's no point in continuing, because you can just go back and do it again a couple times, and you'll get 20 seconds faster, which is called resetting. But I'm not going to reset, because I'm just doing this for fun right now, and for a little demonstration, so if you want to stick around and just watch the rest of the speedrun, I'll gladly be happy to let you do that, you know? Otherwise, just, you know, you don't have to. But it is really fun, and I would highly recommend checking this game out if you just want to play it. That said, I will try and commentate it to the best of my ability, so that if anyone does watch to the end, they can hopefully understand what's going on. So this is mostly, again, hypers, just tight movement. Here there's kind of a cutscene skip. It's hard to explain why, but basically the cutscene places you inside that block. Oh yeah, these are dream blocks. You can dash through them and you can jump out of them. The game doesn't actually tell you that you can jump out of them until the B-side of this level, because every level has a harder variant called a B-side, and then an even harder variant called the C-side. And in the B-side of this level, you basically find out that actually you could always jump out of these dream blocks, which is really cool, I think, that it teaches you a trick that you can then go back and use, but you don't need to use it to beat the level in the first place. Same with all the hypers and ultras and wave dashes. Like, the game will eventually teach you how to wave dash in, like, the final level, which is actually DLC that they released a bit after the rest of the game. But you could always do it, you just didn't know that you can, because you don't need to. So it's like, it's really cool design, which I think is fair enough, because like some of these levels would kind of be made a bit too easy by knowing how to wave dash, and it's also hard, and you don't need, like, it's hard to pull off effectively, and it makes certain sections sort of easy because you just jump across them. So I think it's really smart that the game sort of lets you figure out the basics of the game. Well, that was a bit laggy. The game lets you figure out the basics of the game first, and then it teaches you the advanced techniques once you're good enough at the game. So like, you have to be good, or you can just look it up on YouTube. But in order for the game itself to teach you, you have to be good enough to get to that stage of the game where you can then use it effectively. So yeah, lots of just dashes and jumps. Another thing you can do with hyper dashes, actually, which I forgot to explain, is basically, because a hyper dash gives you less height than a super dash, or a dash cancel, whatever. So what you can do is you can hyper and do a really short jump, and then like jump again, and it's kind of hard to explain, but basically, if you do a really short hyper and then jump off the ground, you can keep the speed from the hyper dash. These are lots of ultra dashes, by the way, which I'm doing, which is where you hyper and then dash down to the right, which gives you even more speed, except I totally messed that section up. So yeah, that's level. But basically, it's called a bunny hop. What you can do is you can do a very short dash and then jump normally, which means that you gain the speed of the short dash, because you jump quickly enough to gain your speed, to retain your speed, but you gain the height of a normal jump because you are doing a normal jump. I can sort of potentially demonstrate at the start. So this would be a normal hyper, is when you just do that and you gain that much height. But then you can do a bunny hop, which sort of gives you more height and retains the hyper speed. Okay, so here, if you dash through a screen transition, you actually get your dash back. So you're just supposed to like climb up and around there, but I can just sort of dash through the screen transition to get that key. This level involves lots of moving things, so you have to do cycles. You have to wait for the right time to go. Except most of the time, if you go very, very quickly and do the right techniques, you can kind of just not have to wait much for these things. But if I die, sometimes I might have to like adjust my tactics, because suddenly I have to wait for a thing that's spinning to like get into position. It always ends up being the same when you die. So like if I die twice, they'll always be in the same position, but they'll be in a different position from when I start, which is a bit difficult and confusing to explain, because it's to do with the fact that it sort of takes a bit of time. That was bad. So now I have to sort of use a backup strategy. This is not the way I would beat the room normally. So yeah, basically you have to know how to beat the room, both the first time around and after a death. It's called a death cycle, which can be kinda difficult. So one thing you can also do when you're starting is literally just kill yourself on purpose when you enter a room and only learn the death cycle. Except sometimes it's sort of, the death cycle is actually slower. But I will be kind of doing some death cycles later on in the game, which I'll explain. Right, so yeah. Just gathering, basically went all around this way. We came from back there, but we had to go up there to get this key to unlock that door to move on in the level. And now we get to meet Mr. Oshiro, who's going to make us clean up his hotel. As you can see, this hotel is full of junk, so I'm going to zip through and clean it up for him as best as I can, because he doesn't want me to clean it, but he also doesn't want me to leave his hotel, so you know, a clean hotel is a hotel I'm actually able to leave, because currently the door is blocked by a bunch of mess. So I'm just going to zip on down here. That was a ultra dash. Fuck. So I can do... Okay, I didn't really explain reverse hypers. Reverse hypers is normally for a hyper dash, you dash and then you jump in the same direction you dash. Shit. But what you can do is you can actually dash one way and then jump in the other direction and you'll still get the dash momentum. I jumped off the back of that spike there, don't worry about it. So you can sort of dash one way. I'll do a little demonstration. You can dash one way and jump the other, and you get speed, which means that if you've got a really tight space and you don't have much space to dash forwards, you can just dash backwards into a wall and then jump forwards, hence getting the same speed without as much space to do a hyper. Additionally, you can sort of, because you can wait on the jump, that means you can do the extended version, which I explained earlier, which is basically where you keep your dash because you, like, wait a little bit before pressing jump. Oh, that was bad. It's kind of hard to, like, talk consistently and play this game at the same time, but, you know, I'm trying my best. I'm just doing this one for fun anyway, so it's not like I'm going to get any personal best. If this is a personal best, that would be amazing, but, like, right now I'm about 25 seconds behind my personal best, maybe? Nah, probably further than that, actually. So, like, it's a bit tricky. But yeah, this level, there's sort of a lot of times where it looks like I'm just running through, but I'm actually waiting for, like, half a second just to let something go by. This is a nice, cool little... Okay, that was a terrible fail. What you're supposed to do there is sort of... You dash onto it, and then you jump, therefore keeping some of your dash momentum and your dash, but you need to also retain your dash afterwards. This looks a lot harder than it is. I never used to do that trick because I thought it was really difficult. So yeah, now I'm just gonna... I've finally finished cleaning up. Oh, I'm actually more like 50 seconds behind. Okay. You can just collect that key, get to the end, unlock the door. Hello, Oshiro. Okay, bye, Oshiro. Gonna climb up this empty lift. Okay, you're supposed to dash down. These crystals give you your dash back. So what you can do is you can actually dash down through the crystal. If you're, basically, if you go into the room with enough speed, you can sort of dash down to get your dash back, and it's slightly quicker, but I didn't do it right. Okay. And again, more hypers, more wall bounces. That's the fastest way of moving this game. Let's see if I can do this bit without dying. I always die on this bit. It's kind of difficult to do it first try for me. But then the second try it's a lot easier because of the way the cycles line up. So you can actually kill yourself with the key and you'll still keep it, so there's no reason not to. Like, you can run all the way back, or you can just kill yourself to respawn at the start of the room, keeping the key. A lot of tight platforming. Let's see if I can get a quick cycle on here. Oh, crap. I bonked my head. So basically, if you do this section quickly, you can actually dash under that thing, otherwise you have to wait to go down and go over it, which can save you, you know, fractions of a second. And at the end of the day, fractions of a second is what's important in a speedrun. If I can not bonk my head. Thank you. Okay, now Oshiro's got mad at us because we insulted him and we said that his hotel sucks, or rather our evil reflection did. It's a very complicated thing. You really have to play the game to understand the story. But it's a really nice story that sort of has implications about mental health and stuff like that. And I genuinely, it's really cool. It's kind of a pity that I skip it for the speedrun, but, you know, you gotta go fast. So he's just mad at us and he's chasing us through his hotel, basically. And if he hits you, he sort of kills you and sends you to the start of the room. That's another thing that I didn't really talk about in this game. Whenever you die, it sends you to the start of the room. And most of the rooms are pretty short. So it's actually, like, deaths can only cost most of the time between sort of 2, 5, maybe 10 seconds. Sure, in the later bit of the game, whoops, I just died. In the later bit of the game, there are some rooms that will cost you a lot more time when you die on them. But, you know, I mean, hey, this room can cost up to like 30 seconds to a minute. Because the thing about this room is that if you die once, I often die again because of the cycle thing I kind of failed to explain earlier. Sorry, if you do actually want to know more about this, if this genuinely interests you, feel free to sort of message me and ask me about this because it's a really cool game. But it's kind of difficult to explain on the fly. Oh, damn it. Yeah, that was the end of the room. So as you can see, if I hadn't died at the start, I might have genuinely saved like a minute in this room because I spent a minute dying and going like that. Oop, get the strawberry. Oh, strawberries are optional collectibles that you can get. So I've collected all of the strawberries, but, well, technically not all of them. All the red strawberries. There's some golden ones you can get later, but they're really difficult. But I've collected all the normal strawberries, but this run doesn't care about strawberries because it's called any %, which basically means beat the game as quickly as possible. You don't even have to complete, like, if you can skip bits of the game, you can do it, because you're completing any percentage of the game necessary to win. So, I'm actually going to do sort of, it's not exactly a skipped level, but it's kind of a skip later, which I'll explain. That's actually coming up next level, but for now there's a little quick level. This level is weird, because basically the main mechanic of this level is that you will get wind blowing in your face, slowing you down. Here's a nice little reverse ultra there, and I just died. The same button to skip cutscene is also the reset button, which kills you. So I was trying to skip the cutscene and I killed myself instead. Okay, yeah, so there's this wind, which is supposed to push you back, but it doesn't actually affect you when you're dashing. So if you just hyper dash into the wind, you just move forward as normal. Yeah, that's the exact intended way of doing that level. So yeah, I can just basically, also sometimes the wind pushes you forward, which is really cool, so it like helps you rather than hurting you. So you know, the wind is, whoops, you can sort of, if you dash then normally you die, but if you dash down just before, it kind of changes your hitbox and allows you to survive that, which makes that section a bit easier. On these clouds, they'll sort of bounce you up and down, and if you do a hyper dash on them, you can get like even more momentum because sort of you combine the cloud momentum and the hyper dash momentum, allowing you to go both very high and very far. So you can skip one of those clouds. Another spike jump there. And then this is actually a wall bounce, but I'm dashing before going into the room, which is really cool because it allows you to wall bounce and keep your dash, which isn't something you can normally do. There's the cloud. Okay, now this room is really cool because you're supposed to use this block and just hold it all the way to the end, but actually you can use the momentum it gives you by pushing you along to get further on in the room, which is a really cool trick you can do to sort of beat that room quickly. A bit more wind, don't really care about the wind. I mean, I care about it somewhat, but like if you can ever dash into the wind, then it essentially becomes irrelevant. That's sort of the rule of the wind. Like here, I'm just gonna do a little wave dash. Jesus Christ, I couldn't speak. I can just do a little wave dash and ignore the wind entirely. This room's pretty cool. Do an extended hyper dash over these blocks, and then here you just ignore that thing entirely and just jump up. So yeah, these blocks, you can pretty much tell what they do. When you touch them, they just sort of start going in the direction of the arrow. And you can also move them up and down occasionally. Depends on the block. So here, I don't need this block because I can just dash straight to the end. Another wall bounce. And in this room, if you're really quick, you can actually beat the wind. You're supposed to take one more wind cycle. So wind cycles is, you know, the wind switches direction every once in a while. But if you do it quickly enough, because normally the wind pushes you back from there so you can't reach that thing, but if you do it quickly enough so that the wind isn't pushing you back, you can actually do it in 2 wind cycles rather than 3. So yeah, here we get to the end of the level now, almost. This is the section where the snowballs start to come in. Random snowballs will basically follow me around and try to pelt me in the face. And they're really annoying, even for a speedrunner, but you can also jump off of them to get your dash back. So they're kind of useful with like advanced tricks, but I'm not very good at this section of the level, so I sort of don't utilize the snowballs as well as maybe the world record speedrunners would. But maybe I should like spend a bit more time learning it, but I really just do this for fun, and I can't be bothered to learn when I can just sort of do it, the speedrun, which is not the best way around it, but you know, again, this is things that we do to chill out, and I'm not super competitive in this. Okay, this is really cool. You do a reverse thing, and then you jump up here. You basically just skip half of the obstacles in that room. That's the really cool thing about Celeste speedrunning, is that with all these advanced tricks and movements you can do, you can just sort of casually, without really thinking about it, ignore half of the ways that you... Damn it. Ignore half of the intended ways to beat the levels. And it's kind of hard for me to say what I'm doing, because I'm so used to doing it at this point that I just sort of automatically do it without thinking. Okay, before we go into this level, I'll quickly explain a thing. I can wait on the in between levels because we're doing in-game time, which only counts when you're inside a level, so it doesn't actually matter that I'm waiting here. It still sort of doesn't, the clock pauses. So each level has a difficult B-side. In order to unlock the B-side, you have to find a cassette tape hidden within the level. If you don't beat the A-side, this is the A-side. If I leave the A-side, go to the B-side, beat the B-side, even though I never beat the A-side, I did beat this level, or a form of it, which lets me unlock the next level. So what I can do in this level is I can find the cassette tape in about 1 minute and 20 seconds, beat the B-side in about 3 minutes, and that was about, 4.5 minutes total. Even if I fail a bit on the B-side, that, up to 5 minutes. And the A-side can take about 5 to 6 minutes to do. I can't remember the exact time. So it's actually faster to unlock and do the more difficult version of this level than to beat the normal version. So that's what you're going to see me do. Which will also give you a little bit of a sneak peek at what the B-sides look like, because they're really, really hard. They're like, obviously for someone who's played this game for, 500 hours like me, they're not as difficult, but, for the casual player who's just played the A-sides, the B-sides are really hard. So this level's actually got a lot of cool puzzles in it, which is kind of funny because we're going to skip most of those puzzles, but, there's a lot of, basically these bubbles will just sort of fling you, even through rooms, which is super far. I just hit that spike. So you're supposed to backtrack and go through various rooms in order to find the bubbles, which can let you sneak in between spikes, but oftentimes you can just sort of hyper between those spikes anyway, which sort of makes it a lot easier and faster. There's a lot of really, this level is really, really cool when you're playing it casually. It's also really, it's got a bit of creepy darkness that you can, unlock by finding these lights. This level honestly kind of freaked me out the first time I played it with all the darkness and stuff, but now it's a really fun level, So yeah, this is not the way you'd go normally to beat the level, but this is the way to unlock the B-side. It's also got some strawberries along the way, but, we don't need those because, fuck it. I'm just doing this game to beat it quickly. Okay. So the B-side cassette rooms, they have, these alternating blocks that follow the music. I didn't need to wait there, I just waited an extra thing for no reason. And I just hit the B-side cassette tape. So now, instead of beating the level normally, I'm just going to return to map and enter the B-side. Now, the only reason this B-side is actually that fast is because there's a really sneaky trick where basically you enter a room, but you jump as you're entering it, which lets you fall below the platform you're supposed to land on. So you put yourself in a position that you shouldn't be able to put yourself in, which means if you reset and kill yourself, then the level will spawn you in a place that you're not supposed to be in, and you get to skip a good 2 minutes of level by doing that. Maybe 1.5 minutes, I don't know. But it's really cool, I will show you. It's called Bub's Drop because a guy called Bubs, or Bub-I, discovered it. And you drop through a platform, so yeah. Hopefully I get it first try. It's kind of sometimes difficult, but I've been pretty good at it recently, actually. I've been pretty consistent. Okay. So I'm just, doing more of the hyper dashes and the wall bounces. And these platforms, basically, they move when you dash. I don't know if I explained that earlier. No, I didn't. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna dash. Oh, damn it. Okay, so now what I can do is restart chapter. Not restart chapter, crap. Sorry, return to map. And then enter. There's little checkpoints at every level, so I can enter in the first checkpoint, which saves me having to replay the first bit of that level again. But the timer still counts down, so it's fine. Ah, crap. Hopefully I'll get it second time. Ah, come on. Yeah. Sod's law that, of course, the second I'm filming this game, suddenly I look bad at it by, messing up Bub's Drop twice. Okay. Third time lucky. No! What am I doing? I think I'm pressing jump too early, so it's not detecting my jump input, so I need to wait a little bit longer. There. I think I pressed I pressed the jump button for too long that time, which meant that I jumped too high. Come on. I've gotten this first try, literally for the past 5 runs. Damn it! This is the part where it starts to get a little bit less interesting because I'm just failing on the same bit over and over again. So apologies for this. No! What am I doing? I feel like this can relate to life. When you fail at something over and over again, even if it's something you can normally do, it suddenly becomes harder because you're in your own head, and suddenly you're gonna struggle to do it normally. If you're watching this, you can just sort of skip forward until I get it. So I'm using the momentum of that platform basically, and then... Thank you! So you can see I fell through, and now... Oh, where did I come from? The game thinks I must have come from there, because that's the only way I could die over there. Which sort of lets me skip a bunch, and I think I've still saved time. This room has a difficult cycle for me, so I'm just going to kill myself on purpose to reset the cycle to make it easier. So I can just sort of dash straight through everything. And then, whoop, reverse hyper into there. Bubble up to this room. Okay, this is a really weird trick, and it looks a lot harder than it actually is. You can jump off of that into here. I'm going to kill myself again. Yeah, there's a lot of moving, spinning blades. Not spinning, just moving blades. But I can basically just ignore all of them because I know the cycles. I'm a little bit tight. Sometimes I die there, but usually no. Okay, now we're going to unlock the mirror. This actually happens in the A side, where you basically get dragged into a mirror dimension with a bunch of creepy beasties by your evil reflection, which chases around in the second level, if you remember that. I sort of didn't talk about her. She's called Madeline, like Madeline, but bad. She's really cool. Okay, this was not good. Yeah, I'm gonna reset. There we go. So, ideally you'd knock that thing, they're called Seekers, ideally you'd knock it into the coin to collect it, which unlocks the door, but sometimes you don't. So yeah, the Seekers, normally they're really annoying because they try and kill you, but what I can do is basically, there's no randomness in this game, so they're not random, so if you know where you're going, you can manipulate where they're going, and you can jump off their heads to get your dash back, which can actually help you beat certain rooms, like this room if I ever get it. So they sort of, casually they're a nuisance, but to a speedrunner they're a tool to be used. Oh my god, please. I'm not sure what's happening here. Normally, just, there we go. See, that's what you're supposed to do with that room. And then you just go, boop, jump off his head, jump off the back corner of that block. There's a nice wall bounce there. Okay, this is Theo. He's a character who you'd meet casually, but obviously I'm not playing casually, so you've not met him before. And I'm just sort of gonna, he's trapped in a crystal of his dark energy or whatever, and I need to save him, so I'm just gonna carry him through this level. Again, this is like something that you would normally find in the A side. The text box kind of covers up that button there, but there was a button, don't worry about it. Okay, crap. Yeah, that was, I kind of messed that up. It's fine. Jesus. No! Sometimes you just find yourself, when you're speedrunning, you just sort of die over and over again on the same section once you fail it once. Because you sort of just get out of, you have a rhythm, and then you lose your rhythm, and suddenly you find yourself dying. And it just sort of happens, but what can you do? So yeah, this time you have to use Theo to collect those coins to, Jesus Christ. To collect those coins, which will unlock the door at the end. And you have to dash to make him fly up, because those things are activated by dashes. I never really explained the coins either. Sorry, there's so many different mechanics in this game, it's kind of hard to explain them all. So here, we're going to dump Theo. If I can actually land it. There we go, I'm going to throw him onto the spring, catch him, dash a couple times, use those crystals to reset your dash. Okay. I went too early, actually. Okay, I'm going to wait a cycle. So yeah, when those blocks are not solid, you can't land on them, if it wasn't clear already. Okay, 4 minutes and 3 seconds, but I did have to restart the chapter a couple times, so that might have taken me 5 minutes, which is, it's quite long, but I hope sometimes you just don't do well. Like, you know, considering that I've played this game probably hundreds, thousands of times, and I have one personal best, turns out getting that personal best is pretty difficult, so this is, you know, this was highly unlikely to ever get near it, but I can still just play the game and enjoy myself. Yeah. Also, even though I've played the game for a very long time, and some of the speedrun strats that I use are very advanced, a beginner can sort of, it's very fun to just challenge yourself to say, I'm going to beat this game in under an hour. And under an hour, you know, for me that's trivial. But for a new player, that can be quite difficult. But you know, you can do it once, and you can take, maybe like your first time will take you sort of 5 to 10 hours, who knows. And then, you know, your second time might take you a lot less. It might take you, you know, 1.5 to 2 hours. And then suddenly you play it over and over again, and you learn the strategies, and you realize this is actually a lot easier than I thought, and then you sort of you beat it faster and faster. And then you can also do the B-sides, which, you know, complete those. And when you beat all those, you get the C-sides, and you can beat all of those, and they're even harder. And then there's golden strawberries, which basically you can get them by beating levels without dying, which is really, like, literally dying at any point throughout the level. And if you die at any point throughout the level, it will instantly send you back to the start. They're very difficult to get, especially for long levels like this one, which is why I haven't gotten them. And then there's also the last chapter, it's chapter 9. It doesn't have a B or a C side, but it's just a singular, really long chapter. And, like, some of the tricks and the puzzles in that one are insanely difficult to figure out. But again, for speedrunning, it's kind of weird, because, like, half the game is sort of, well, not half the game, but a big aspect of the game is the puzzle of how do I beat this level. And as a speedrunner, you just know it. So, like, you don't, there's none of that figuring out how to beat things aspect, which I think is a really cool aspect of playing this game casually. Yeah. Also, seriously, if I post this and I'm using a bunch of terminology that you don't understand because I forgot to explain it or something, just, like, poke me in the comments and I'll try and explain it all. I might make a little follow-up if you need to, I don't know. I'm just doing this for fun, but, like, I'm really, really passionate about this game, so I want this to be a nice demonstration of what this game can be. These blocks are really weird. They're called bumpers, or we call them bumpers. I don't actually know what they're called in the game. And basically, whichever angle you hit them on, they bounce you in a different direction. So I'm trying to get the perfect angle for them to bounce me furthest. So there we go. So if I hit them just on their right side, I can go flying left. And actually, if you hold the away from, like, in the direction they're sending you, you can go further. So if they're bouncing me to the right and I'm holding right on my keyboard, I will actually fly further, which is really cool. I waited there a second just to let these guys open up to let me through. If I hadn't waited, I'd have to try and go around them, which is harder, and I've died multiple times doing that. So yeah, because I know the cycles, I know what's coming up, I can sort of maybe delay a couple of seconds to give myself more time later. Okay, these are called Kevin blocks, I didn't really explain them. You dash into them and then they go flying in the direction you hit them. They're called Kevins because the guy who voiced them is called Kevin. He's one of the game developers, and you can hear his voice going, "Roar." So yeah. There's a bit of water in this level. This was originally going to be all water, but then they realized that water levels in video games kind of suck. So this level is actually really cool, because, like, it's got enough water to keep it interesting, but most of it isn't water. Okay, this is my favourite Kevin block, because he is huge, and he will send me flying. Here's where you really get to see the momentum mechanics. Bam. Just fly straight through there, combine my dash momentum and his momentum with a jump, sends me flying. Okay, here is the best music in the game, and this big boss fight against Babylon. So I'm going to stop talking and just let you see this beautiful music and beautiful fight. You know, if you're still watching this video and you haven't given up ages ago, post "Hey ya" as a comment underneath it, because I'm very curious how many people will actually want to watch this. Oh, that was bad. You're supposed to jump on this block, but I didn't. It's fine. Oh, I should probably explain the Babylon mechanics very briefly. So she has two attacks. She has a laser, which sort of follows you, and then there's a little pause, and then it shoots. And she has those little balls which will just sort of fly in the direction that you are when she shoots them. But you can avoid the laser and the balls fairly easily. That was a nice little ultra dash to get really fast. Oh god. The B-side of this, so the B-side and the C-sides actually have remixed versions of their original level music. And I have to say that the B-side music of this level is also really cool. And also the B-side of the temple is like a smooth jazz remix, so I love it. So yeah, this 5A, this is level 6, sorry. 6A, 6B, and 5, which is the temple. 5B all have the best music in my opinion. I believe the soundtrack is on Spotify and it's composed by Lena Raine and In Love with a Ghost. Also, this game was made by the indie company called Matt Makes Games, which is owned by Matt Forson. He's awesome, and they're all speedrunners, which is why this game is so good for speedrunning, because it was designed by people who sort of... So I'm not sure like how much they do speedrunning, to be fair, but it was designed with speedrunning in mind. That is why there is a timer in the game which is accurate down to 300ths of a second. Oh, sorry, you know what I mean, 0.001 of a second. Which, it's really nice. Considering the game runs at 60 frames per second, whoa man, I just missed battling. Considering the game runs at 60 frames per second, I literally don't know how accurate it can possibly be. But also, this is kind of a really good level time for this, for me, to be honest. Like, getting a 7-minute level for me is decent, so yeah, I'm pretty happy. See, as you can see, the lasers sort of follow you, and you have to bait them into place and then quickly move. I never explained the feathers either. The feathers basically let you fly around. They're self-explanatory, you just sort of watch them. Sorry. Yeah, there's so many different mechanics in this game. Like, it's very difficult to explain what they all do. Okay, so now I basically teamed up with my thoughts and darks. I teamed up with the anxiety inside me and the doubts and the bit that's telling me I can't climb the mountain. And now that we're both working together, rather than her limiting me, I can have 2 dashes instead of 1, which makes it a lot easier to beat the game, except obviously the last level is designed with 2 dashes in mind, but you know, it's really cool. Seriously, I can't stress how much I'm skipping over the storyline of this game, and I would highly recommend you to actually play this game. Now, we finally reached the last level. This level is called the Summit, and you're basically, in the last level, you got tossed to the bottom of the mountain, and in this level, we're going to climb all the way to the top using our new friend Badelin's extra powers to go flying up to the top. So you're going to see little bits that look like all the places we've already been in, starting with the place we just fell to at the bottom of the mountain. So yeah, just a lot of platforming and dashing around. You're supposed to use that spring, but I can just skip over it. Ah, damn it. I'm supposed to, like... There we go. If you jump later, you sort of keep your dash, but it's kind of hard in that room. Crap. There we go. Okay, and a little hyper. So yeah, basically when you hit those blocks, Badeline tosses you up a little bit, and then moves on. And you have to hit her a few times, and then she'll throw you all the way up to the next section of the game. There's little cutscenes of text of, you know, you two being encouraging to each other and stuff. It's all cute. So yeah, I can just skip that entire room with a smart wall bounce. Jumping up some springs, la-di-da. You're supposed to use that dash crystal, but I can do a reverse hyper off the thing to get extra momentum to let me go straight up to the top. Getting some momentum from that. More platform momentum. Yeah, this level, it's a bit weird. You're basically going underneath. You're supposed to sort of drop those blocks down and jump off them, but I can just go under them. It's fine. Here, I'm going to jump off the back corner of that to activate this platform early so I can slip under it and, you know, not have to wait for it to go down and up and down again. Whoops, I just missed that. Oh my god, I'm dying. And yeah, cutscene skipping is a surprisingly, like, you have to like learn when the cutscene is coming so you can skip it optimally. Now these blocks, you can jump out of them. You can also actually hyper dash out of them because you can sort of jump and dash. And I don't really understand the timing of that very well because it's very difficult to do, so I'm sort of bad at it. So there's some sections where it's like a lot quicker, or not like a couple of seconds quicker, no, probably not seconds. Like half a second quicker to do a hyper, and I'll potentially attempt it, but it's kind of difficult. It's sort of like awkward timing. And if you fail the hyper, you're just going to waste your dash and die. Because you need your dash to dash through them. Here. There we go. Yep, okay. So there we go. I failed the hyper there. But, no, stop. Okay, whatever. I saved it. It's like marginally quicker, but not if you die. So I feel like it's sort of silly to do it sometimes. You can actually dash through both of these because they're kind of connected somehow. It's a bit weird. Okay, moving on to, this is probably the hardest bit because there's all these, I've already died. there's all these, they're called dust bunnies. All the dust bunnies are in your way. I bonked my head on that ceiling, killing me. Okay, I'm just gonna do this instead. Yeah. Once you die, and this room is really easy if you do it the first time, and it's harder once you die once, because the timings sort of get messed up, which is why I'm dying over and over, because I'm not really sure what to do. Okay, there you are. I delayed a little bit. This is a surprisingly difficult level of room. Okay, this room is hard, and I'm just gonna not say anything. The problem with what I did there is basically I was too busy looking ahead to realize that I was running into a spike, well not a spike, a dust bunny. They're essentially the same as spikes. Yeah. Okay, good. This next room is really cool. You do ultra into ultra to get a lot of speed. You sort of have to time it right, and I'm messing this up. It's cool when it works. Okay, whatever. No. There we go. Damn it. Oh, it's because I have to dash up. Yeah, okay. I've been messing this up the entire time, but it's fine. Yeah, there we go. Weave my way through all those. This is like a little hidden bit because it's a strawberry, but it also lets you get to the next section. Do it. What the fuck? Okay, that was weird. Okay, if I get this first time, it's a lot quicker because I can just dip in between there. Oh, are you kidding me? No, messed it up. So now I can't do the thing I did anymore last time because I will die if I do it. So I have to do this instead. Okay, that was weird. Okay, I'm just gonna go over it then. That's fine. Nope. God, what am I doing? The nerves of recording yourself and talking whilst also trying to play a difficult game is surprisingly difficult. Alright. Hopefully I can get a sub 40, but I kinda doubt it. Who knows what time we'll get. This is nowhere near my personal best. If you remember, my personal best is 35 minutes, and I am about halfway through this final level. Ah, damn it. There we go. That's not the intended way of doing that. You can actually sort of dash to the other screen to use a screen transition, but you don't need to because you can just sort of... Okay, I lost my dash. Yeah. If you couldn't tell, Madeline's hair color shows how many dashes she has. Blue hair is 0 dashes, red hair is 1 dash, pink hair is 2 dashes. So if I do a dash wrong, it'll often leave me with red hair when I want to have pink hair for the 2 dashes. Okay, whoa. Yeah. I just ran into that wall. Okay, this is a really cool cutscene skip, actually. Or not cutscene skip, auto-scroll skip. So instead of waiting for this platform to get to the end, I do a big dash, jump, and then I do a little wall bounce in that tiny gap there, which allows me to skip that section. There's another short auto-scroller skip. These are called auto-scrollers because you basically can't do anything to make it faster, except you can actually skip them with some smart wall bounces. But, you know, that's... yeah. Auto-scrollers are sort of universally hated in speedruns because they make you wait, which is why skipping them is so fun. Another little... it's not really an auto-scroller skip much, you just sort of jump off it. Okay, so we've reached the end of this section, and now we're going to be entering the temple next, which is the last bit before the final stretch. So, the game's almost over. At this point, it doesn't look like I'm going to be beating it under 40 minutes, I don't think, but we'll see. Because the last stretch will take me on average about 3 minutes with minimal mistakes, 4 minutes with a few mistakes, and I'm currently, maybe I'll be able to do it. Who knows? Okay, so if you dash, that platform blocks you, but you can actually dash into the room and keep your momentum, therefore allowing you to not get blocked. Same with here. Okay, this is a really cool trick coming up. Basically, you're going to jump off of the wall, and if you time it right, you literally don't press anything other than jump twice, but you can actually jump in a right way to get up this path. Otherwise, you'd have to go downstairs and get a red bubble and fly all the way up here. But instead, you just... Jesus Christ. You just jump twice, if I can do it. Dash up, grab the key, reset, because obviously, if you die with a key, you get to keep it. And you didn't have to go all the way around and down. So So yeah. I'm just dashing to keep the platforms in place. Okay. This level is pretty cool. You have to like time your dash quite precisely. You can sort of use the texture of the wall. Now here, okay, no. I'm going to do a really cool trick. This room, what you're supposed to do, because I'm not doing very well, you're supposed to open these gates up. But what I'm going to do is a trick called door skip, which is really difficult and I'm not very good at it. And it saves 2 seconds in the entire room. Let's see if I can get it first try. Come on. Ah, not quite. So yeah, you can actually dash in between the door and the spike. Barely. And again, it saves 2 seconds, so this is not worth it. But it's really fun when you get it. Because you feel like you're good at the game. Ah, no, that was bad. I didn't even have enough height there to do it. If I don't get it within a couple of tries, I'll just do it normally, but, you know, this way's more fun. Okay, I'm not really sure what I'm doing right now. Right. Final try. Oh, let's go. Final try. You can actually skip that platform with some precise jumps. You're supposed to land on the spring below, but you can actually just jump off the top of that platform to get a dash back. This is a cool little section. Oh my god. I die on that too much, and I don't know why. Because it's not difficult. Okay, let's just do it the easy way. There we go. Okay, so now I'm not going to get sub 40, unfortunately, but let's see how quickly I can do this. This is the final stretch. We've reached the top of the summit of the mountain. We just have to make our way to the top. So yeah, losing lots of wall bounces. We've got 2 dashes, and each dash can do a wall bounce if I don't fail that. Okay, whatever. God, did you see that? My head was inside the wall. There's not really too much to say about this section. Just watch. Oh, here's the wind is now going downwards. Jesus, I can't believe I died there. The wind is actually going downwards, so it's making me fall faster and dash less high, which is a really cool challenge. And then in the very next section, the wind will be going upwards, making me, you know, jump higher and fall slower. So they go basically right to the end. They change the way that gravity works. These checkpoints will essentially, when you die, you get back to them, but I can skip some of the checkpoints to go very slightly faster. Which, you know, it's worth it in a speedrun overall, because you're not likely to die at any given checkpoint. Obviously, some checkpoints I will get, just because it's like, I might as well in case I die. But when the time you'd lose by not getting, you know, the time you're risking losing isn't very high, there's not really much reason to not skip the checkpoint in some cases. Okay, so now the wind is suddenly going upwards, so I will be very floaty and high jumpy. That was bad. You're supposed to skip that checkpoint because it's so close to the next one. But yeah, suddenly I'm turning into a floating cloud Madeline. Which is funny because there are some clouds here as well. Okay, I have no idea what the fuck I was doing. Sorry for the excessive swearing. You know, when you're dying a lot, it's very easy to just sort of, like, it's a nice way to sort of get your stress out a bit. To just sort of swear at the game. I do love this game, really. It looks really close to dying, but it's actually really easy if you get the angles right to just not run into any of those spikes. I died there so many times the first time because it's so difficult to get in between those gaps, and it's after a relatively difficult section. So yeah. As you can also see, whenever I have a dash and I don't need it in order to beat the level, I'm just going to use it to just, you know, dash down and go downwards quicker, or dash forwards, or in this case do a little reverse dash to get a bit more speed if I didn't hit my head on that spike. Okay, almost at the end. That was number 7 flag. Okay, whatever. This is flag number 6. Another feather boy. Okay. Flag number 5. if you're live streaming this, this is the part where Twitch chat would be spamming the numbers of the flags as you hit them. Okay, that was bad. Yeah, this run would have been like, I would have restarted this ages ago. But, you know, it's called a no reset run. I've probably explained that already, to be honest. When you just play the game and say whatever, however badly I do, I accidentally used my second dash, which I needed to get through the tight gap, so I died. Yeah. Honestly, like, conserving dashes in order to use them at the right time is a thing that I know when to do, because I speedrun it. But, like, as a casual player, sometimes you just sort of dash, and then later on you realize, oh, actually I couldn't afford to dash, even though it, like, makes it easier. You literally can't afford to dash because you need the dash later. It's a very smart game, very well designed game. Okay, we've reached the final flag. Now we just have to jump all the way to the top of the mountain and try and avoid the spikes. Saying that, I'm gonna risk hitting the spikes here. Okay, never mind. There's like a little trick you can do there to get a bit more speed, but you occasionally die if you mess it up. And that's the end of the game. So I reached the summit. I took a nice little selfie at the top. Sorry, not selfie. A nice photo at the top of the summit. And there's big credits, which I'm just gonna skip because they're very long. But it shows you climbing down the mountain. And you reach the old woman's house who was laughing at you earlier, and she's baked you a strawberry pie. And Theo's there, and everyone's there, and Mr. Oshiro's there as well. It's a very nice, happy, wholesome ending. And Badalin, of course, you can't forget Badalin. So I died 111 times in that speedrun. My personal best, I think, has 30 deaths, so not the best, but it could have been worse. Thank you very much for watching this video if you actually made it to the end. Hopefully this will get me lots of points in the Chester game thing, but also hopefully more people try out this game, because genuinely, it's a really fun game, and it's like 10 to 15 quid on Steam, I think. I might have got it on sale, I can't remember. It's really cheap, it's really good. I've spent 500 hours on this game. You can definitely spend up to 100 hours on just beating all the different levels that are available, unlocking all the secrets and stuff. Highly would recommend. There's so much that you haven't seen from me speedrunning this game. So yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. I'm gonna go and post this to UK Quidditch now. Goodbye.